Hi fam, and welcome to a new video. Today I am going to show you some of the books that I bought in Feb and March, and by some I mean many. I bought quite a lot of books, and yes, I know that I have a problem, but I spend most of my money on books. That's like primarily what I shop for, and cheese and alcohol. I'm a very classy girl, as you can see, uh, but actually I have shared some of the books that I already bought in another haul video, which was dedicated to Kitab Khana, which is a bookstore in Bombay, which is the city that I live in, and I love very much, and I bought 17 books there, and I showed you those, so that's already up, so you can check that out. But apart from that, I also have other bookstores that I bought from, because I don't know, I guess like in Feb I just went like a little cuckoo. There were a lot of sales going on weirdly with a lot of bookstores that I love. A lot of indie bookstores were doing some sales, and I was like, yeah. So this is primarily a very indie book like haul video. So technically I was helping the economy. Okay, so without any further ado, let's just get into the books that I have bought. I thought that I would first show you the books that I have read and speak about them very briefly. And the first one is this one. And if you've been on my channel, you would have known that I have done a review on this, and yeah, that was fun. So you can check that bit out. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything more about this lady, because another book that I read and was this one, which I absolutely loved. It is really sweet. It's basically these letters that a book lover and a bookseller exchange during the 1940s, and it's just really sweet and short and adorable. But yeah, I bought this from Blossom's. And then there's this one, which was part of my book club pick. So I read this one and I had some thoughts on this in one of my wrap-ups. It was really lovely, and I hit it on this, which is my table. Anyway, sitting on the floor. Then I read the fourth volume of the Saga series, which sort of disappointed me, but like overall in terms of Saga, not really. So there's that. And then I am giving you a sneak peek into like a video that's coming up, but I bought and then read the entire Shadow and Bone series. And I was supposed to read this before the show came out as like prep, but I never got down to doing it because, you know, like April was just, yeah. So I read it now and I have thoughts. So I think that video is gonna come up, like go up on either Monday or Wednesday, so make sure that you subscribe, okay, for that. But yeah, I read these and I have thoughts. I only like annotated, anyway, it's fine. But yeah, those are the books that I have read. There were some ebooks that I read as well, like Club You to Death by Anuja Chauhan, which I have a separate video for, and yeah, those are the books that I want to really talk about. But let's get into the other books that I bought. April was lit with Indian lit month, so I bought some translated Indian books, and one of them was this very beautiful copy called Vintage Chuktai, which is basically a collection of Ismat Chuktai's short stories. Ismat Chuktai is a very famous and prolific writer from India, and yeah, I read one of her books in April, but yeah, maybe this one will be read soon after. Another very cool lady is this person, Tash Aw, and she wrote this short story collection called Laburnum for my head, and I have no idea what laburnum means, but I will read this and hopefully find out. Cool. This is another short story collection, and this is When I Hid My Caste by Babura Bagul, and this is translated from Marathi to English by Jerry Pinto, who I love, and I've heard really good things about this short story collection. Jyotsna from Jyotsna's Jyotskapades, I was going to say Bookskapades, has spoken very highly of this as well, and yeah, I was supposed to read this in April, but I just didn't because life was in the way. And then I got this one, which is another Marathi translation called the Bombay Quartet. And this is a book by Dilip Chitre, who I've heard a lot about, but I've not seen any of his books around. And this is like basically 4 novellas which are sort of interconnected, and they follow like the city that I live in, and they yeah, I honestly don't know too much more, but I've heard really good things about this author. But yeah, I should read this one soon now. Yeah. Okay. And the last one, but not the least, is this beautiful cover called this book. It's called Uttarakhand. Right. I mispronounced it in another video, and then people were just like, hey, you know, it's not Uttarakhand, right? And I was like, yes, that is a state. This is anyway. So this is a book about the Ramayana, and it is told from Sita's perspective. And apparently, the author, who is again a really prolific writer, has written it really well, where he has humanized these people who are now looked as like deities. So yeah, this is again just let's admire the beauty of this. And then I have 3 books from a book box that I ordered from, but I don't like them very much, so I don't want to like promote them on this channel per se, but they are a very big book box. And this one I ordered in like August, I think, the beginning of August, and I received this in March or like the end of Feb. So you know, they're just lovely customer service in general. But there were 3 books in the book box that I wanted. The third one I like. This one I didn't really care too much about, but this one is still, it sounds cool. It's called The Story of Silence by Alex Myers, and this is essentially the story of a girl who disguises herself as a boy so that she can fight in like the medieval times, and something like that. But yeah, that's what it's about. If you've heard good things about this, let me know. But yeah, just pretty edges. The next book is a book that like just is really pretty again, and that is this one, which is The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. And I've heard a lot about this author, but I've not read him yet. I think he wrote this book called 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which a lot of my friends really like. But this one, if I'm not mistaken, is set in the 16th or 17th century, where there is like a voyage like on a boat, like a ship, and there's some like weird things that start happening there, and then there are these people who want to like try to figure out what exactly is happening on the ship, and like, is it actually like the devil, or is it like a demon, or is it like someone else who's trying to like make people believe these sort of things, and solve that mystery, I think. And it's really heavy to carry, so I'm going to put this down and then talk to you about the book that I ordered this book box for, which I've been wanting to read for so long now, and I don't know why, I just haven't. Like, every day it stares at me, and it is this one called The Lovely War by Julie Berry. And this is essentially the story of 3 people during the World War, but it is narrated to us by Aphrodite and Ares, I think, who is the god of war. And I am just obsessed with this idea, and I just think that it's going to be like one of my favorites, which is why I think I've been putting it off for so long. But yeah, I need to read this, and I don't know why I haven't, but I will get to you, promise. And since we were talking about historical mysteries and murder and all of that, I thought that I would show you the 2 books that I bought from Tidal Waves, which I actually vlogged about. So I have like an entire vlog where I go to Tidal Waves, and I think that is in my Reading Black Books for a Week vlog. So I will link that up and down in the description for you. But the book that I bought was this one, which is The Shape of Darkness by Laura Purcell. And just look at how beautiful this is. I was just honestly obsessed. But this is about this young girl who is a silhouette artist, which is basically she does stuff like this, and slowly her clients started getting killed, and she's wondering why that is happening. So she tries to investigate that with the help of like this little child who is a spirit medium, and they try to figure out who has done the murdering together, and I just think that it sounds really cool and just like it's stunning. The next book that I got from Titleways is this one called Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor, and this is a book which is by a Mexican author, and this is apparently like a creepy, weird book, and it says the witch is dead, and after a group of children playing near the irrigation canals discover her decomposing corpse, the village of La Matosa is rife with rumors as to how and why this murder occurred. And yeah, I think that's just us like trying to uncover how this murder happened and why it happened and just all of that sort of stuff. But I've heard it's really like creepy and like almost like horror-y, so there's that. The next three books are books that I bought from Roadside Bookstore, which is basically like this kid has partnered with some of the vendors at Fort who sell books on the roadside. If you are from Bombay or have been to Bombay, you know that this is like a really famous part of our city. But yeah, he now has this website, and there were these three books that were very highly discounted and books that I've also wanted to read. So the first one is this one, which is The Taking of Annie Thorne by C.J. Tudor, and I read this book, which is The Chalk Man, for another video that I did, and I was really like taken by her writing. So yeah, this one. And the next one is a book that honestly I've been eyeing for like a while now, and this is A Place for Us by Fatima Mirza, and this one I've heard like a lot of really good things about, but I think it's about like an immigrant family, Indian Muslim family, and I don't know, something happens, and I've heard that it's like really emotional. So I've heard really good things about this one and hope to read this one soon. And the last one is this one, which is The Old Drift by Namwali Serpil, and this is a Zambian book, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is supposed to be like an intergenerational story about this one boatman, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember right, and how his life gets entangled with these two other people and how the future generations have to like suffer or go through the repercussions of this one incident. I'm not too sure, but again, heard good things about this one, so yeah. I'm really sorry that all of this is not in a particular order or anything, but the next book that I want to show you is this one called Girl A by Abigail Dean, and this one I bought because I heard good things about it back then, but then not so much after that. But this is essentially about a girl who is like her parents and put her and her sibling through a lot of stuff in some place called the House of Horrors, and then her mom, who's her last surviving parent, dies and leaves the house to her, and she wants to like put it to good or something like that, but then she has to like come face to face with her siblings who she's not like met in a long time, and it's basically that, I think. But yeah, so there's this one, and then the next one is this one called The Door by Magda Szabó, and this is a Hungarian book which is translated to English, and it is essentially a fictionalized version of the author's real life, with her relationship with her house help over many years, so over 20 years, and what that was like. And yeah, I've heard really good things about this one actually. And then y'all know that I'm a huge fan of Jhumpa Lahiri, so I wanted to actually read some of the books that she translated herself. So as you know, she has moved to Italy a while back and is now fluent in the language, and now she translates a lot of Italian works to English, and I was actually hoping to do an entire video where I read the books that she's translated from Italian to English. And I have these three books, which are the Penguin book of Italian short stories, which is one, and then the two other books called Ties and Trick by Domenico Starnone, and these are two books that I also wanted to read, and I just haven't gotten down to making that video, so I should do this. So let me know if I should prioritize this video or not, or if you want to see it at all. The next 3 books I bought from walking book fairs in Bangalore. They were close to shutting, but they did a lot of marketing activities and a lot of things on social, and they did some very cool book sales, which was like buy 2 get 1 free sort of situation. So yeah, I bought some books from them, and the best thing about buying from like independent booksellers is that they give you these really cute like cards as well. Like, look at that. That's adorable. Like, that's so sweet. And yeah, anyway, the one book that I bought, which is very expensive, that I wouldn't have bought otherwise, but like I just saw it and I was like, I need this now, and that is the short stories of Ray Bradbury, and I am just obsessed with his writing. I think that he is really, really smart and cool. So I really wanted this. I saw this and I was like, I need it. So yeah, I bought this one. The next 2 books are books that I've actually been eyeing for a really long time. It's part of a trilogy, and I have only 2 books from them, and that is this one, which is The 20th Wife, and then the sequel, which is The Feast of Roses, and this is essentially called the Taj Mahal trilogy, and I think this basically follows like Noor Jahan and Jahangir and their love story. So yeah, I think that's what these books are about, and I'm just really, really intrigued by like the Mughal history, and I would love to read this, and I need to read this soon. So yeah. Alright, and the next few books are all from Blossoms, which is one of my favorite bookstores in Bangalore. They are just absolutely lovely. I just WhatsApp them and they send me like loads of pictures of all of these books, and it's absolutely amazing. Best part is that they also have second-hand books. So I may or may not have said, hey, do you have Jeanette Winterson books? And they were like, yeah, we have lots. And they I bought 4 of them. And I've never read Jeanette Winterson, but I do want to read her, and I feel like she's like an author that a lot of people just can't say anything bad about. So the first book that I bought is this one called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, which is a book that I hear about a lot, and I think this is like sort of a like a memoir sort of thingy, and yeah, so that's that. And honestly, I will not be able to tell you too much about the other books because I bought this a while back, so I don't remember what they're about, but yeah, that's about it. This is The Gap of Time, and there's this one called Lighthousekeeping, and then there is this one called The World and Other Places, and yeah, those are all that I can tell you about those books. I have no idea what they're about, but I will link all of these books down below for you to like Google for yourself and figure it out. I should have googled this and like told you, but like there's so many books I can't remember. Anyway, point is, the next book is a book that I will hopefully read this month, and that is this one called Human Acts by Han Kang. I read The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and trust me, that book does not leave you. So yeah, this one is a book about a student uprising in the south of Korea, and what happens with a bunch of people that are there. The next one is Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut, and as you know, I'm a huge Kurt Vonnegut fan, so this one was a book that was on sale, so I was like, yes, give me. And this one is about this guy who is waiting for his trial for war crimes, and he is like writing his memoir and all the things that he did as a spy for the US military, and stuff like that. So I don't quite know where Kurt Vonnegut will take you with all of his weird like themes and stuff like that, but they are very, very good. The next is a book by Sarah Waters, who is an author that I want to read, and I have like 5 books of hers. This is probably the 5th one, but I still haven't read her. I don't know why. And this is called Affinity, and honestly, I cannot tell you what this book is about, but it says, from the dark heart of a Victorian prison, disgraced spiritualist Selina Dawes weaves an enigmatic spell. Is she a fraud or a prodigy? By the time it all begins to matter, you'll find yourself desperately wanting to believe in magic. So yeah, And we have another book that I have also read very recently, and that is this one, which is The Good Son, which I read for my Asian thrillers books. And I really like this one, spoiler alert. So there you go. And then we have Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. I just love Roxane Gay in general, and I couldn't find this book anywhere, and Blossoms had it, so yay me. I hope to read this one soon. And the third last book which I have for you is this one, which is The Girl of Ink and Stars by Kiran Millwood Hargrave. This is her first ever debut novel. It's a young adult book, and I've been wanting to read this for a really long time, and I hope to get to this soon. And talking about books that I've been wanting to read for a long time and could not find is this one, which is If Beale Street Could Talk, and I wish that it didn't have the movie cover, but it's fine. But this is a book by James Baldwin, and is basically about it's set in the 1970s in New York, in Harlem, and it is basically a love story, but about this girl and a boy who are in love and are about to have a child. However, the man is falsely accused to have raped a white woman, and it's about their trial and tribulations. And I've heard really good things, and James Baldwin, as you know, is brilliant. And the last book that we have is this one, called We the Survivors by Tash Aw, and he is a Malaysian English author, and this is essentially about a guy who's killed someone, and then there's a lady who's like speaking to him and trying to write about his story or something like that. I don't know. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I saw Emma from Drinking by Myself reading this, and I was like really intrigued by it. So yeah, I might read this one this month too. So that's it for my haul. Thank you so much for watching. If there are any books from here that you think that I need to prioritize and talk to you about, please do let me know. I would love to do like a separate review for you, or like, you know, in my wrap-ups or whatever. But yeah, that's about it for now. I hope that you are staying safe and that you are doing okay. Please do check out my description down below for charities that are doing great work for the Indian COVID crisis, as well as what's happening in Palestine and how you can help. And that's it. I hope you are doing well, and I will see you in my next video.